All right, so we got the fertility results that Melanie went to the fertility specialist earlier this week, last week. I think she posted the video 2 days ago. And we want to break down those numbers for you, tell you what it means, what it doesn't mean, and kind of shed some light on all of that. And then I'll break down what I found out about myself, and kind of the process that we went through and that most people would go through in this situation. Mel, do you want to talk about your results first?
Yeah. Sure, yeah. So when I went to the fertility doctor, I was basically going just to see, since I'm now 40 years old, if I'm still able to get pregnant, how many eggs do I have, the quality of the eggs. I didn't know what kind of questions she could answer, and honestly what she was going to do during the exam. If there was an exam, turned out it was just a consultation. She was great, great to talk with, and she basically broke down, being 40 now, what the statistics are for getting pregnant and carrying a baby. So the biggest concern at my age would be the quality of the eggs, something they can't test actually. But along with the quality, there's the concern of the quantity. At this age, there's not quite as many. As you get older, you're only born with so many eggs, and as you get older, those start depleting. So she did do an AMH test in which she checked the quantity of eggs, which was giving her results to let her know if I was going to be close to menopause or not. But it turns out I'm in the normal range for that, based on my age of having the number of eggs that I need to have, or she would expect to see. So that's great news. But the chances of getting pregnant are 55%. And then along with that would be a miscarriage of 40%. And that's because the eggs are not as high quality potentially, and it's the body's natural way of ridding the body of the pregnancy before it gets too far along. So a lot of times women will have this type of miscarriage even before their missed period during those first couple of weeks.
The research shows that there are way more women that have had miscarriages, whether they know it or not, than we hear about. So this isn't uncommon. It's just a natural way of, kind of protecting your body.
Exactly. And with the advanced age of being 40 now, the body is 40% more likely to go through that process. There's also the concern of Down syndrome, so having that genetic chromosome, and the chance of that at my age is 1 in 63, so that does increase. But nowadays they can actually do blood testing at around 12 weeks to check for that chromosome. You don't have to wait until you're 30-some weeks when they would normally do that amnio and let you know at that point. So that's good news. So the other blood tests that she did do, I had blood and urine tests that same day. She checked for a rubella vaccination because if I did not have an immunity at this point, and with families choosing not to immunize their children, if I were to get infected with rubella while pregnant, it could cause issues for the pregnancy and the baby. But good news, I am immune, so no shots, yay. And then they did the standard STD, HPV, HIV blood screenings, and as expected, that all came back negative, but it is just standard process just to make sure you're good to go and ready to carry. And then she also did, while she was drawing blood, decided to check my thyroid just to make sure that that was functioning properly and all good there. So on my front, looks like I'm good to go. Go ahead and tell them about your experience with your fertility
doctor. Yeah, I will. I also want to kind of highlight too that, 55% chance of getting pregnant and a 40% chance of miscarriage sounds kind of, not like the best numbers, but all in all, it's a good report. Like
yes,
that's pretty good actually, considering her age. Not that you're old.
And I do still have quite a few friends out there that are having babies and healthy pregnancy.
Yeah. So my visit to fertility doctor was twofold. Again, a consultation like Melanie had, also for my sperm count and see what that looked like. And well, as it turns out, I'm actually really fertile, which is good. And all of that is going to be beneficial. And I seem pretty healthy all around. And then the second part of that was to get all of those STD tests. So we did the standard run-of-the-mill STD tests and STIs, All things are good. Everything is clean. They did additionally check me for HPV because if I had it, it can, be passed to Melanie. I don't, but that's something that a lot of times we don't think to check for. And I'm in a monogamous relationship. Melanie and Jeff are in a monogamous relationship. So that is kind of a moot point since neither of us have it. However, if you are thinking of doing this process and one of the individuals is not in a monogamous relationship, you really should get tested for that and be vaccinated if you so choose, just because your chances of contracting it are actually higher than they were if you have multiple sexual partners. So all of that is good. The other part of my consultation and visit was to talk about the role of the fertility doctors and the fertility specialists. And really what came about is that they are not going to have much of a role, at least at the clinic that we were going to.
In the clinic I went to.
Yes, and the reason for that is it doesn't matter if it's heterosexual couple, homosexual couple, it doesn't matter. If there is a known donor, known surrogate, they will not facilitate this process.
And my doctor actually said because I am the donor and the surrogate, that also being the reason that it would not be supported by them.
Yeah, and that's unique to them, and I'm sure there are other clinics that are the same way. That is not the case for everyone. So just, call around and do your research. We were planning on trying it at home first anyway, so this was not bad news for us. But they have a lot of reasons as to why they feel that way. Most of them are legal issues, et cetera, with things like this, particularly when the donors are familiar with one another. And we will have more information for you later this week.
Yeah, be sure to follow us, subscribe, hit that button on the page here, and check out, what's our Instagram?
It's An Uncommon Family, and that's on Insta as well. And we're still posting on our Facebooks and our personal Instagrams too. So if you want to follow along and you're not gonna, depend on us sharing it, then feel free to subscribe, and we will talk about our next appointments later this week.
Sounds good.